Hello. Welcome, everybody. It's your girl, Marcy Thomas. I am so glad to be here with you. As you can see, things look a little different and starting a little later than normal because I have some technical difficulties. But I just say that's because Vanessa and I are getting ready to have a wonderful conversation because we've tried this a couple of times and had technical difficulties. So that just means that God is up to something big, just like the name of the book.
Something good.
Something good, something big, all of that. He's up to something good. So, welcome once again to the BGC Book Club. And without any further delay, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce our guest who's already here with us. We have with us today, let me look at my notes, Vanessa Miller Pierce, who is a playwright, motivational speaker, and best-selling author of over 50 Christian fiction novels. She started writing as a child, spending countless hours either reading or writing poetry, short stories, stage plays, and novels. And since becoming a Christian in 1994, her writing has been centered on themes of redemption, often focusing on characters facing multidimensional struggles. And tonight's book is no different. So welcome, and thank you for your patience and us getting all this together.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to begin this interview because as much struggles as we've had trying to get this done,
Right.
This is going to be a great interview. I can already tell.
Absolutely. It most definitely is meant to be. So I want to congratulate you on this book. Now, of all the books that you've written, which number is this one?
That one is number 51.
Number 51. So that is indeed a blessing that you've been able to put your stories out there in so many different ways. And people are continuing to love the things that you're writing and talking about. So I'm really glad and I consider it an honor to have you here in this space with us.
Yes, I'm thankful. I really am.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, I know I mentioned it a little bit in the introduction, but just about your journey towards becoming a writer. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we can get into the book.
I knew that I was going to be a writer when I was a kid. I was sitting on my grandmother's porch about 9 years old. My father told me this story about a rat, but I didn't know it was a rat. When he was telling the story, he made this thing he was talking about sound so beautiful and like something you just wanted to have and have it be with you. And when I found out it was about a rat, I said, I want to do that. I want to be able to turn the hideous into something beautiful. And I had no idea. My name, Vanessa, means butterfly. And so I just believe this was God's journey for me. I was supposed to be on that porch that night with my father listening to this story. And then I was supposed to learn that my name means butterfly, which, how does it start? As a caterpillar. Then it goes into a cocoon stage and becomes a beautiful butterfly that everyone wants to behold, but no one wants the caterpillar. And that's where my stories begin. I begin with the caterpillars. I begin with the thing that is hideous, the thing that you don't want, the thing that you shy away from, and then I show you how with God's grace, he's able to turn it into something beautiful and lovely to behold. And so that's really how my journey began. From 9 years old, I knew I would become a writer. And as you said, then I started writing poetry. I was writing short stories. And finally, I wrote novels. But the first 3 novels I attempted, I couldn't finish. I would get so far in the book and then I would go, well, what happens next? I didn't realize, I didn't have anyone, to help train me. And so I didn't realize I really needed an outline, because an outline for all the young authors out there, if you start your story by outlining it, by saying, this is what happens from the beginning to the middle to the end, that's going to help you when you get to certain parts and you're thinking, well, what happens next? Well, if you've already outlined it, you know what happens next. You just have to now set the scene, set the stage for what happens next. And so I had to learn that on my journey to actually finishing my first book, which was titled Former Rain.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense, though, just having kind of know where you want to go with that, because being that you've written so many books, the thought that was going through my mind as you were talking is like, are you one of those people who's kind of like me, have a bunch of different ideas all at once, and you have to kind of categorize them, or does God kind of speak to you and give you a certain story based on the time, or how does that process kind of work for you?
I really hope that God is speaking to me with these stories. I come up with them by conversations that I might have with someone, or I may see like a story online, and then I'll just start to build different ideas around just a story that I saw, or just a comment. And then I'll start to go, I wonder what if this and what if that. And then I am more of a character-driven writer. So I have to then come up with my characters in my story. And then I do like a biography on each one of my characters to say, okay, this is who you are. And so once I know who my characters are, and then I have where I'm going to set them, where is your story beginning? And then it just begins to flow for me. And I always pray that, God then shows up and shows out in my stories, and he's able to bring, I say I can bring all the drama. I can write all the drama, all of the issues, but I never know how it's going to end, or how God is going to turn them around within my story. And inevitably, sometimes it'll happen like this. I'll be at a point where I know that this story needs a turnaround, because I will outline everything except for like, okay, well, but what happens to really turn them around? Because there are some stories I really don't know. I'll go to church, and the preacher will preach a message, and I will be sitting, and I'm not expecting that it's going to be the message that delivers my character, or that shows me, oh, okay, this is what goes on. But the message will be exactly what I need at that time, usually. And I'm going, oh my God, that's it. and then I come home and I'm able to write that scene. And so God just does it for me like that a lot of the time. Not every time, but a lot of the time.
Oh, right. But that makes a lot of sense, that you would get, inspiration along the way, even though you may have an idea. That inspiration just comes to you as different things, come up, and you're exposed to new messages, or, things like something that happens in this book that you say happened in your real life. So a particular incident. So tell us a little bit about Something Good. What is unique about this particular story?
Well, I'll tell you, I had so much fun writing this book. I loved everything about Something Good. And that's not always the case for me with my book. Sometimes I'm going, okay, I don't know why I decided to write this until I get the inspiration. And then I'll go, oh, I get it. Okay, this is what's going on. But with Something Good, each step of the way, I was like, yes, I love it. I fell in love with the characters, Marquita, Trish, and Alexis. Their story just sang to me, and it was like it really wrote itself. And so Something Good is really about trusting God even in the bad times, trusting him to bring that something good, even when things don't look good. And so I use these three characters to walk that story out for us.
Well, one of the things, as I mentioned when I was talking to you, that I thought that we couldn't do it a couple of weeks ago, and we're here tonight. And one of the reasons why I thought it's a good timing, because there are a lot of different themes that run throughout the storyline, but it's really a tale of three mothers. And, we're coming up on Mother's Day in a few days.
Yes.
And it's like how these mothers and their different lives intersect with one another based upon a series of events that kind of bring them together. So was that intentional to be about the mothers specifically or motherhood, or did that just kind of come as you were writing the story?
It kind of came as I was writing the story, but the one thing that definitely was intentional was the mother-daughter relationships that are shown in the story. I wanted to show just how each one of these ladies relates with their mothers, and so it was fun to write at times, and then sometimes it was sad to write and brought me to tears as I explored their journey with their mother. And so and some of it made me laugh, and I hope that's the same thing with the reader, how they experience it when they see these Trish, Marquita, and Alexis with their own mothers, as they are themselves mothers and trying to walk out this relationship with their children, things like that. So so the mother-daughter was very much intentional for me.
Okay. And it is important to be able to explore those relationships. Did you have any piece, a little excerpt or anything that you'd like to share with us today?
Oh, I didn't. Well, I can always bring up something. So let's see. I could start at the chapter 2. I'll start where Trish comes in, and the story, the part that I'm going to read, and I'll just do a real quick excerpt, is really about her everyday has now become something that's hard for her. And it wasn't hard in the beginning because, her and her husband had this middle-class family. They, worked their way up to middle class. They loved each other. They have a son who they had high expectations for. And then the bottom fell out. And so this is where she finds herself after Jon-Jon has been in a car accident that has left him paralyzed. And so let's hope I have enough light in here. Ooh, you asked me that. Let's see if these glasses are. Hold on. You have your reading glasses and you have your,
Oh, yes, I understand that.
Look glasses. Okay. Okay. Pulling herself out of bed, Trish Robinson stretched to get the kink out of her neck and glanced over at her husband's snoring form. He used to give good massages, good hugs, good everything. But that was before everything went left. Rolling her neck from side to side, she took a long, deep, do I have to start this day already sigh. I will sing a fruitful song in a barren land every morning since the day her precious son was told he might never walk again. Trish sang those words to encourage herself to keep on fighting, keep getting out of bed every morning so she could see how God would turn her midnight into sweet, sunshiny days. Mama, I'm coming, Jon-Jon. They lived in a ranch-style home with 9-foot-high ceilings, so sound traveled. Even though their master bedroom was on the opposite side of the house from Jon-Jon's room, she heard him holler her name. Jon-Jon rarely hollered for her first thing in the morning, but when he did, she knew what that meant. She rushed into the bathroom and grabbed a washcloth, towel, wet wipes, and a Depends for her precious 20-year-old. Long, deep sigh. I will sing a fruitful song. And so that is Trish dealing with her new reality that, Trish has a lot of faith. And so she keeps singing this fruitful song, even though things seem barren right now. And as you continue to read Something Good, you'll find out why she thinks things are so barren.
Yeah, that's so true, because one of the things that was interesting as well is that if you don't know, or if you didn't read what the book is about, these three ladies are coming together on the heels of an accident. That's not giving anything away because we don't do spoilers. If you ever watch me,
because
we
that
don't
happens at the very beginning.
That happens at the very beginning. So Trish is basically trying to navigate life now that her son has been in this accident. And, like a lot of parents, they have all these ideas of who their child is going to be. Their child has all these ideas of who they're going to be. And then something happens and it changes, everything, your whole world gets disrupted. And, one of the things that also shows up, Trish is a married woman. This causes some changes within her marriage as well.
Yes. Trish and Dwayne had always had a really good relationship. But how many of us know when tragedy strikes within a marriage, you'll either be able to come together and handle it together, or you struggle against each other because nobody's communicating right now. Each person is doing what they think is best, but nobody is saying, okay, well, this is why I need to do this. And I need to talk to you about this or about that. And so they struggle. And Trish, really lets him have it after a while because she gets tired of how she feels he's not understanding her needs at that particular time. But you keep on reading the story and we will, the book is titled Something Good because we will get to the good part.
Yeah, we definitely do that. But I just found that so interesting because it's so real. You hear stories and others may have experienced it that, yes. Not only is it about the dreams that the parents may have for their children or, the children's dreams for their lives, it also impacts the relationship and changes the dynamic as we see in this story. And it is, you guys have to read it because it really does. It feels real, just to think that they're going through and, he's not happy with her and she's not really happy with him, but yet they still want to try to figure out a way for something good to happen at the end.
Right. Well, because they know they love each other, but they know right now they really not liking each other. And so it's like, okay, how can we get back to the good part? And so they have to try to figure that out. But and I find what in marriages you'll either figure that part out or you will go your separate ways. Because we think, well, this is just too hard. This is too much, and I cannot overcome this. But I think a lot of times when people go their separate ways, they end up, thinking, I wonder what would have happened if I would have stayed. And so this is with Trish, going, wait a minute, I wonder what would happen if we can work this out.
And also in their household, their son, Jon-Jon, he's going through a lot of things because, of course, once again, you have to read it to find out what he was doing. But, he has all these great plans and now he's, paralyzed from an accident, which, of course, no one expects to be in an accident and have their lives uprooted. And, it also speaks to just the changes that he's going through, and he has to find his place in the world and kind of figure out how he wants to move forward.
Yes, definitely. And so Jon-Jon, a lot of people have told me they just loved Jon-Jon and Marquita together, and you have to read it. But Jon-Jon is at a place when the book begins where he's dealing with depression. Because he had great expectations for his life also, and now things are different, and he has to figure out a way to live with his new reality.
And Marquita, who comes into this particular family's life, because there's another character who's not in the household, so to speak. That's a big part as well. We'll talk about her in a minute, but. Marquita comes in with big surprise, and it changes everyone's life.
Yes,
and
it does.
I loved Marquita because Marquita makes me think of, there are a lot of times you run across a person who may come off as being kind of rough around the edges, and but there's a reason. And a lot of times we may be quick to want to write someone off because they are rough around the edges, or think that they're just not a nice person or not a good person. But usually there are reasons behind that, as we find out in the story what some of those reasons are.
Right. Yes, definitely. With Marquita, Marquita had a lot of issues. She had the rolling eye issue. She had the can't keep a job issue. She had the just don't know how to respect her elders issue. And but you discover as you get to know her the reasons for those issues, and that she really wanted to do better in life, and she just didn't know how. And Trish comes along and shows her, helps her to think of things in a different way. And so I loved her relationship with Trish, even though Trish wasn't her mother. She kind of stepped into that role for her because she needed someone, because Marquita's mother was a whole nother issue.
Right. And, and Marquita's mother, she as well. It's things that we see or we hear about when, sometimes a person may be acting out or behaving in certain ways, and you wonder, how come you can't do this, or how come you can't get things right, or how come you can't manage your family the way that people think that you should. A lot of times there are reasons for that as well. And I'll just say it because it's mental health challenges.
Yes.
Because she's not the only one. There are other characters as well. But a lot of times
we definitely deal with mental health issues in something good, because I think a lot of times people want to shy away from that issue. But especially with this pandemic, I think it brought it out of more people to be able to say, yes, I deal with anxiety, or I deal with this. I'm dealing with something, and so I wanted to kind of express it in something good, so that people see this isn't necessarily the boogeyman in the room, but this is real people. This is what sometimes life has done to people, and these are real people who still deserve to be loved, and still can be embraced even in what they are dealing with.
Right. And I thought really, Vanessa, that it was very powerful that you did this as a Christian writer, because we know that sometimes in some Christian environments, they may not tackle mental health in the same way. A lot of times, it's, pray about it and it'll get right. And sometimes, yes, we can pray.
Yes.
But sometimes we need outside help. We need outside assistance as well. And I just thought that it was powerful that you brought that into this space.
Yeah, sometimes I do believe that, people may need to talk with someone. I don't ever want someone to feel like, okay, if that's what you need to get over it, and they don't go and get it because, it's taboo. And then what we find out is everyone is now sad because now this person has maybe taken their own life, but we didn't give them other solutions for what they can do. If I definitely do believe in prayer, but guess what? I also believe in talking it out, or there may be a professional that can help you, because maybe they have some other strategies that I don't know about because I'm not a professional. And so I'm going to pray for you, but then I also say maybe you also need to talk with someone. But guess what? I'm going to be praying because I believe that prayer works. But we got to have everybody believe in it.
Right. And, it is important to have those tools. That's one of the things that I mentioned to you earlier, that I do like this Live Well Sister series. And what that is, it's about basically just letting people learn about different tools that they can use, whether it's for self-care or mindset, or whatever it is. There are all kinds of different tools, and everybody has to find the tools that work best for them. And for some
Right.
people, it can be prayer and it can be therapy. It can be meditation. It can be a combination of things, but whatever it is that helps them to get, the peace and the healing that they need, is just important that, you don't have to necessarily do it while I say chew the meat and spit out the fat sometimes, but there can be bits and pieces of things that can be helpful.
Yes, definitely. Because one thing that works for me may not work for the other person, but the thing that works for them may not work for me. But if we're at least trying to get better, and that's what I believe that life is about, each day just trying to get better. And of course, I believe that each day, my trying to get better is, I want to walk upright before God. I want to see what that Bible tells me and try each day to get better with that. Now that's my getting better. Someone else is getting better, maybe something totally different of what they feel, but that's where I stand, and and I'm pretty happy about that. That's since 1994, that has been where I've stood, and it's a journey. It's not that I get everything right every day I get up. I do not, but I try.
Absolutely. And that's what's required of us, to work out our salvation.
That's right.
We're supposed to be working it out. So it's not a one and done deal and you got it and everything's straight forever. That's just not true. So
right. The Bible says that this race is not given to the swift and neither to the strong, but to she that endures until the end. So, you don't have to necessarily get this right away. It's a process, so don't, I want to challenge people who, even maybe listen to us, don't, give up on God if maybe things didn't go the way you expected them to go, this time or that time, or maybe you didn't do the things that you thought you should do. You know what? He's still there. He's still waiting. He still is waiting with open arms. It's not given to the swift, neither to the strong. Endure until the end, and you will see the goodness of the Lord. I believe that.
Yeah. That is so correct. You are right in that. Well, one of the things, I know we were talking about Marquita's mom, but I want to go back to her relationship with Trish for a second, because
Okay.
as you mentioned, she came into Trish's life, and Trish kind of took her under her wings and was teaching her some things and trying to help her. And I just felt that was important for me to see, because sometimes, when you run into situations where maybe someone, lives a certain life, or is more mature, let's just say in the faith, so to speak, and someone new who doesn't know certain things, sometimes it can be hard for that person who doesn't know, because maybe the attitude of the person who does know is kind of like maybe sometimes even beating them up a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, she checked her, Trish checked Marquita, but she did
Yes.
it with love. And I
Yes.
just feel that is so important. And it was good to see that, even with all the challenges or things that she may not have liked about Marquita or agreed with Marquita on, she's still always operating in love with her.
Amen. And I'm challenged by that myself, with my daughter and my niece, because sometimes I'll say something and maybe it's not received because I'm just kind of flat out. And they're like, rub you the wrong way. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I wasn't trying to rub you the wrong way. I'm just trying to tell you, trying to help. And so that even blessed me with Trish, because I'm like, I wish I was more like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with my own, you know, I want them to receive what I have to say, and you know, receive it, you know, in love. And so I hope that they do, you know, most of the time. But I know we, you know, we struggle sometimes, just sometimes.
And that's just our humanity, you know.
Yes.
We're not all, as you said earlier, we're not always going to get it, you know, right. We have to be able to, you know, work through that. And then sometimes maybe if you don't get it right, to be like, you know what, you know, I'm sorry. You know, I meant what I said, but maybe I shouldn't have said it the way I said it.
Maybe I shouldn't have said it that way.
Right. Maybe I could have, you know. Right. But moving on to our last main character, and that is Alexis.
Yeah.
Now, Alexis is, you know, a big part of the story as well. She is also a mother of two children. She's also a wife. She's also a daughter who is kind of sort of a caregiver. So it's like she's in this sandwich generation where she's dealing with a lot of different things all at the same time.
All at the same time. And you know how that gets to be stressful. It really does. You know, but there's certain things I don't want to say because I don't want to give it away for people who haven't read the book yet. But Alexis definitely, out of all three of the characters, she's the one that seems to have everything, but she's the one who is dealing with the most issues internally. And so, and when you discover that about her, I really think that brings out her humanity to the reader, and the reader begins to go, okay. You know, I was thinking this was something else, but now I see, wait a minute, we got some whole other problems over here. And so I really was trying to show, because I was dealing with different socioeconomic backgrounds with my characters, and I wanted to show that no matter which level you're on, you know, on this rung of life, there's still issues that each one of us deals with. Each one of us deals with something. And so, and to me, it was just to show that, you know, you can never really say that I wish I would had this person's life or that person's life, because you don't know behind that door. You don't know what's really going on with them. And, you know, there may be some things that you really don't want to deal with that by claiming you want this other person's life.
That is so true. You know, I mean, we may or may not have people at certain levels in our personal lives, but you see that enough, just even with celebrities a lot of times. You think, oh, if a person is a celebrity, you know, if they're on television or a sports person or whatever, you think, oh, their life is so great because they're making money, or, you know, or because they live in this big house and drive this fancy car. But the reality of it, that's not always the case. And I think that, quite honestly, I mean, not in all cases, obviously, but there are a lot of people who have those lifestyles who really aren't happy because maybe they are going above and beyond, you know, when it comes to material things to cover up things that are going on the inside.
And it's the things that are going on the inside. It's the internal. We look on the outside, you know, but God looks on the heart. But also, we ourselves, we know internally the things that we are dealing with, but people are going, oh, I want that because this looks fabulous. But you don't know if you really, really want it. You really don't.
Right. That is so true. You know, you don't know if you really want it. And then you, like, when you start to dig deep, you're like, ooh, you know.
Right.
Without,
they can have that. You know.
Right. So, you know, once again, not giving any, sorry.
I was going to say, we want the glory, but we don't want the story that comes
right.
Everything that person went through to get what they have. And that was Alexis. You would never want everything she went through to get what she has.
No, not at all. And, well, you know, as I mentioned earlier, this is another character who's dealing with someone in her family who has some mental health issues without giving all the details. about that. So, we see that yet again. And it's just interesting because there are times when people have those situations in their family and they do try to run away from it. In one case, people didn't necessarily know. In another case, they knew and tried to, run away from it.
Yes. Tried to hide it because it wasn't projecting this image of the perfect life that her husband wanted to project.
So that husband,
I have people telling me I'm still mad at him.
yeah, because
he tried to redeem himself, though. He tried.
Right, he did try to redeem himself,
but he's a narcissist, so
Right, and it's just like, wow. It makes me think of a lot of stories that I hear of people dealing with people who have similar personalities to him. That just this person who's all about, well, I want this and this is what I want, and it doesn't matter how I go about getting it, it doesn't matter what you say, and if this hurts you or this, because this is what I want, this is what I'm trying to do.
All about them. It's all about them.
Yeah. So Alexis was we know, and you read the book, she had her reasons for hanging in there, but I'm like, wow, because I know a lot of women would not have put up with it.
No, they wouldn't have put up with that. No.
Right.
No.
No, not at all. So
this is not the plan.
Right. And that is also, I mentioned, of course, motherhood. Something comes up because all of these women are mothers and they're dealing with motherhood in a variety of forms. And then also marriage, of course.
Yes.
The two marriages that are both really kind of challenged, but are finding ways to try to work through their challenges. But, it also shows you, once again, doesn't matter what your status is, doesn't matter, what the situation is, there still is the possibility for there to be challenges that would need to be worked through. And a lot of it just boils down to the communication or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, yes.
So, those are kind of the main themes that I pulled out. Was there anything that you wanted to share about the book that I haven't asked you yet?
Let's see. Just that with something good, the one thing that I was trying to get to the reader is about hope. Hope even in the midst of sorrow. So this book is it's really like a love letter to people who, maybe you feel like there's no hope in this certain situation or that situation. And that's how some of my characters felt. But then one day, Trish just decides to pray for something good. And this red cardinal shows up in her yard. And in North Carolina, which is where I live, the red cardinal is a symbol of hope in the midst of sorrow. And it is like they say, when a red cardinal is in your yard, it is like a visitation from heaven. And so they kind of stood on that in the book. And then she began to believe again for something good. And then Marquita shows up on her doorstep, bringing something that was very, very good for Trish.
Absolutely. Very good for them, and helped us start turning some of these things around and bringing all of the three main female characters together, and just doing wonderful works in the world, basically. So yes. I love the way that all came together. But as I was reading some of the background, you actually had a similar situation where a red cardinal was in your yard.
Well, yeah, let me tell you, I was writing the book, and my husband comes running into the room, and he's like, a red cardinal is in our yard. And so, see, I'm not from North Carolina. I've lived here now over a decade, but I'm a Midwest girl. I'm from Ohio. And so I had never heard. What part of Ohio are you from?
Cleveland.
Okay, I'm Dayton, Ohio. Okay. Hey, Buckeye.
Hey, Buckeye.
So I was like, what is the deal with this red cardinal? So I didn't ask him. I Googled it. So I'm like, red cardinal, North Carolina, and that's when I saw what it meant, and I knew that something good was about hope. Even in the midst of when you're going through some situations. And so I said, this is perfect. I'm going to show this red cardinal in this story. And so I love putting the red cardinal in the story because I wanted for people to feel hopeful when they like if they're out and they see a red cardinal. I wanted them to feel hopeful. And even I'm not saying that the story is true, but I'm saying, when I see one now, I smile because I'm like, who knows who God, because if God can use a bird, he can but like I say, they're not going to say I said it's true that this is really happening, but I just enjoy the story, the old wives' tale of it.
Right, and we have a dating person in the room, Viola. I'm in Dayton, Ohio right now. All right.
Yes, I grew up. I'm born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. I did not leave Dayton until 2012. And so I've been here now 10 years in North Carolina.
Okay, wow. Well, I've been out of Ohio since, tell my age a little bit. I've been out of Ohio since 87. Okay. So, yes, but it's always going to be home to me. So
yes,
so that's
I'm a Midwest girl, born and raised Midwest, and so I enjoy being in the South, in North Carolina now because of the weather, and so even I think about sometimes sometimes I miss the Midwest, but then I think about those cold winters, and I'm
my smile went away.
Right. I think about all that snow I've shoveled through the years, and I'll be like, I'm good.
Yeah, same. Because I left Ohio, but I lived in Michigan for a while. So
you're really getting it.
Yeah. And even Chicago for about 9 months. Now Chicago is,
You just kept going to all the snowy cities.
Right. And it's like, no. Now I'm in Georgia. I have been in Georgia now for 14 years. So
yes. And so
much better situation.
If snow shows up there, you'd be like, oh, this isn't expected. Like we had snow this winter and I was like, no, I don't want to see it. But it goes away, just as quick as it comes because, the sun comes out so quick. So the snow doesn't stay, as long, in the South as it does, in the Midwest because the sun doesn't come out like it does in the Midwest here. So it's like, okay, good. It's here one day. Now it's gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's nice to look at and then like
I don't even want to look at it anymore. I was good and tired of the snow when I left. I was like, no, I don't want to see it.
Same for sure. So something good has been out for almost 2 months now.
Yeah, it has. Almost 2 months now. It really has. It's been doing great things. I've been so excited. I've seen pictures of it in the airport bookstores. People have sent me photos, and then I've seen another author sent me a photo of it in bookstores in Canada. And I was like, oh yay, the book is in Canada. So it's doing really good things, and I'm very excited about it. So I'm thankful that people are enjoying this story.
And it is a good story. So if you want, as I say, we never do spoilers here. So we gave you just little tidbits so you kind of know, okay, there will be a little this, a little of that. But if you really want to see the whole story and how it plays out and what the something good is and how they come together. And yes, please pick up your copy. of the book. Now, I see you have like the big one behind you, but there's something else on the other side. What's that?
Oh, that's one of my other books. That one is called Once Upon a Dream. So that's in my dream series. And so pretty soon there will be that one will come down, and there's going to be I'm releasing another book this year. It is titled What We Found in Hallelujah. So I'm going to have that cover up probably in another month. I'll be showing that because it doesn't come out until November. But yeah, so I actually have two books that released this year. Something Good released in March, and then What We Found in Hallelujah will be out in November.
Okay. So is that your standard pace, a couple of books a year, or
I like to do at least 2 books a year. Next year, I will only have one releasing, and that is it is called The Light on Halsey Street. My husband grew up in Brooklyn, and he would tell me all these stories, and I was like, oh, I got to write this book. And so that book comes out next year. And then in 2024, hopefully I'll have 2 books out, but I only know about the date for one, and it is a very important book to me. It'll release February of 2024, and it is called The American Queen.
Oh, and wow.
It is the story of the only kingdom that was ever in America, and it was a Black woman who was the queen, and her husband was the king, King William and Queen Luella. And I will be telling their story, and I am so excited about that. I actually just saw the first cover comp today, that the first design that they're coming up with, and so I'm getting excited about that one, but it won't be out until 2024 because they want to release Black History.
So I'm going to assume that you don't, or maybe I'm wrong. Do you have a day job as well, or your job is writing?
My job is writing.
Okay, because I'm about to say, sis, how do you do it?
I sit here and I just try to write. And so I've printed off, this is Light on Halsey Street. First 100 pages, but I still have 200 more to go. So I have to hurry up and finish this one so I can get to The American Queen. It's my life. I love to write, but I love it when it goes a little faster than what is going lately, because I've been having just one issue after the other, but that's okay. God is good, and this is going to get done.
Right. That is absolutely right, that it will get done. And just like this interview, sometimes it's a lot of trial and error, but you go get it done.
Yes.
And, I'm really thankful again, grateful to you for being here, for being patient. As people who normally watch me, you can see it's a little dark because right when we were getting ready to go on, my computer decided to do some kind of weird thing, and then it wouldn't let me get back on. So I'm actually from my phone. So it's just a little unusual, but you can see the shadows of me.
I can see you. I really can.
So one other thing I did want to mention, because you have an event coming up in October.
Yes, I do the Christian Book Lovers Retreat, and I'm the host of the Christian Book Lovers Retreat. My husband hosts Man Cave Straight Talk. So we now have men. A lot of times the attendees, if their husband wants to attend with them, they come and they attend Man Cave Straight Talk. But the Christian Book Lovers Retreat is an event that was started in 2016, and we've been going strong ever since. We only did not do an in-person event in 2020, but we did it virtually. And our attendees, we have a good time. Our motto is faith, fun, fellowship, and a whole lot of books. And if you'd like to know more about the Christian Book Lovers Retreat, you can go to the website, which is www.christianbookloversretreat.com. And thank you. You typed it in.
Even on my phone, I took care of you.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, it will be October the 27th through the 30th this year in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is we do theme parties each year. This year it is an African theme, so we're having our Kingdom party, and we are doing a paint party. We do different type of craft events every year. So this year it'll be a paint party. So we like to have hands-on activities for the women. You know, it's different things we like to do, just relaxation techniques or different things. We've had people come in and do massages for the women. Because of COVID, we don't want people, you know, doing that right now. That's too close up on me. You know, I'm still kind of like, I'm gonna need a little space.
Right.
And so, but we do practice safety protocols at the retreat now. So we make sure that people, you know, are safe, you know, coming to the retreat. We have, let me tell you, we had tons of lights out there last year. We were spraying the rooms, but we had a good time. We really did. And like I said, so go to the website because there's so much to the retreat. I cannot tell it all. Let me tell you, you'll see the pictures of all of the events that we do. We do faith events. There is a buffet breakfast every morning, so that table is full of all type of wonderful breakfast food. You will be full. Let me say that. It is an all-inclusive retreat. Once you pay your registration fee, everything that we offer at the retreat, we don't charge anything extra for it. There's no extra fee if you want to come into this event or that event. It's all covered, and you're able to go into any of them that you want to do.
Well, that's good. I definitely wanted you to share that because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are either watching live or who will watch later that may be interested in that event as lovers of Christian books.
I hope so. Please join us. We normally have a lot of book clubs come, and they enjoy coming with their book club and doing all of the activities. But we also have readers who come. We have people who come by themselves, but guess what? If you come by yourself, you're going to become fast friends with some of the other attendees, so you will not feel by yourself because our attendees are just some wonderful, wonderful people, and they just love on each other. I am amazed at how well this goes each year. They really do, and I'm just so inspired by them every year. So come on out. Oh, and we're also doing mystery theater this year. This will be our first time doing this, and so it'll go throughout a few days to find the mystery, and so we're putting that together. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And our signature event also is the Pajama Party each year. An author Michelle Stimson handles the Pajama Party. And it is all about laughter being good like a medicine. Because I know as women, we go through so much all year long. It's always something. And it's always somebody needing us to do this and do that. And sometimes the things we go through takes the laughter out. And so with this Pajama Party, what we do is we come in and we are just big kids again. And we just have fun. And you'll find the women, you know, as the different events at the Pajama Party are going on, you'll find the women just busting out with big laughs and it's coming, you know, just out before they know it. And that has been the way this Pajama Party is built, just to bring laughter into our lives. And so we hit on it all.
All right. That sounds like a lot of fun. And I have to check my calendar.
Come on. I'm telling you, if you come to one of the retreats, you'll be telling people about it, and you will be wanting to come back the next year. It's just that, and it's just not me saying it. It's just that wonderful, and it's just really because of the people, because that's one of our things, the fellowship. It's just the people who are there, but it's also the events that we put on, because we really take our time to put together events that our attendees love, and you have to be there to see it and to understand all that we do, and how enjoyable it truly is.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. And well, we're getting ready to wrap up. I have one more comment I wanted to share with you from Vilo. Saying cardinals, blossoms, other gifts of nature remind me of God's power and creativity, which always gives me hope.
Amen.
I'm definitely looking for this book. So yes, something good. Be on the lookout for it.
Give it a try.
It's all about hope.
Something good.
And actually, there's a red cardinal on the cover. Mine, I can't get to my cover right now, but it's real small. But if you look, I saw it. I'm like, there's a red bird.
That was the only thing I had asked my publisher to put on. When I saw the cover, I immediately loved it. But they had birds on there. And I said, they didn't. Because, see, I had put the red cardinal in later because, as I told you, I'd already been writing the book. And my husband comes in and he's like, the red cardinal. So I said, you know what? The only thing I'm going to ask, because I immediately loved the cover, I said, but I need a red cardinal on this cover. So they gave me a little red bird.
Right.
It's a cardinal.
Yes.
But yeah, so they put that on there for me because the red cardinal to me is very special in the story.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you for your patience, because we did start a few minutes later than usual. And like I said, I'm looking a little different than usual, but I know it was all worth it because we had a great conversation, whether you're watching live or you're watching it on the replay. I know that you enjoyed this conversation with Vanessa, and hopefully it will not be the last one, because it sounds like she's got a book every 6 months. So,
I'm trying.
I'm sure this won't be the last time that we see you. So,
amen. And thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome. And everybody, I wish you a happy rest of the evening, or whenever you're watching. You know, if you are celebrating Mother's Day, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. If you're missing your mom, I pray that, you know, you have pleasant memories, and that, you know, it can be a good day. Amen. You know, a remembrance for your mom. So everybody, you all take care, and we'll see you the next time. Vanessa, you stay there for 1 second, but everybody else, we'll see you the next time.
Bye. Have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening.